My child, pause right where you are and feel this interruption in your ordinary moment, because this is not random. This is not background noise. This is not just another voice passing through your day. This is a divine collision with your timeline, a holy interruption sent to announce that a season you prayed for in secret has quietly opened over your life. And what has been stored, prepared, guarded, and timed in the unseen is now pressing toward your reality with urgency, because the hour for your release, your provision, your lifting, your turning point is not someday, not eventually, not when everything makes sense. It is now. And you must not treat this like information. You must receive it like instruction. Because there are moments when heaven speaks softly, and there are moments like this when heaven leans close and says, listen carefully. This part cannot be missed, because what has been arranged for you is moving. And if you stay stuck in hesitation, distraction, or disbelief, you can stand right next to your breakthrough and never step into it. And I will not let you say later that you were not warned, not called, not told that this was your window, because I have seen every exhausted prayer you whispered when no one else heard, every tear you wiped before anyone noticed, every night you stared at the ceiling carrying pressure you didn't know how to explain. And I am telling you that your struggle did not go unseen. Your endurance was not wasted. Your waiting was not punishment. It was preparation. It was training. It was the building of capacity so you could carry what is now being released without collapsing under the weight of the blessing. Because what is coming is not small, not symbolic, not just emotional comfort, but real, tangible support, real help, real resources, real doors, real shifts in your material world. And you must understand that this is not luck, not coincidence, not human timing. This is divine orchestration unfolding on schedule. And the resistance you have felt lately, the sudden doubts, the strange discouragement, the unexpected pressures are not proof that nothing is happening. They are proof that something is, because opposition only intensifies when movement is near. And the enemy of your peace cannot stop what has been authorized for you. But he can try to slow you down through your own thoughts, your own words, your own hesitation, which is why I am speaking plainly. Your agreement matters, your voice matters, your response matters, because heaven moves in partnership, not passivity. And I am extending my hand, but you must reach back with faith that speaks, faith that acts, faith that refuses to keep rehearsing lack when abundance has already been signed off over your life. And yes, I know you wonder why now? Why this moment? But you are not chosen because you are perfect. You are chosen because you are positioned. And your need right now is not an accident. It is the exact point where divine supply meets human limitation, so that when this turns, you will know it was not your strength, not your connections, not your luck, but my intervention. And you must not minimize the signs that have already been surrounding you. The sudden ideas, the repeated confirmations, the unusual sense that something is about to change, the small openings, the inner nudges. These are not imagination, they are signals, and they often appear before the full manifestation. So your faith has something to stand on before your eyes catch up. But the adversary wants your attention scattered, your mind crowded, your mouth negative, because spoken doubt tightens what spoken faith unlocks. So right now you must choose to declare that your spirit is open, your vision is clear, and you recognize divine movement around you. Because once you see it, you cooperate with it. And once you cooperate with it, momentum increases. And hear this clearly. This opportunity is time sensitive, not because my power expires, but because divine timing flows in windows. And when a window opens, movement is required, and delay can cost you alignment. So do not say later you will believe. Later you will act. Later you will step. Later is the language of missed seasons. And this is not the season to observe. This is the season to participate, to speak differently, to think differently, to move differently, because your financial pressure, your responsibilities, your quiet worries about provision have been seen. And relief is not scheduled for some distant future. Relief has been authorized now, but you must move with trust. And yes, there is spiritual conflict around this, because forces that prefer you small, stressed, and limited recognize when lifting is near, and they attempt to introduce fear, confusion, sudden problems, emotional heaviness, right when you begin to believe. But those tactics lose power when exposed, and I am exposing them so you stop mistaking resistance for a stop sign when it is actually a signal you are close, and you have authority you have not been using. Authority over your words, your focus, your agreement. So reject thoughts that say you are undeserving, reject speech that predicts lack, retract negative declarations you have made about your situation, and begin to speak in alignment with provision. Because your voice is not just sound, it is agreement with a realm. And when your words align with promise, unseen help accelerates because there are divine agents assigned to assist in transitions like this. Movements in the unseen that clear obstacles, influence decisions, arrange connections, protect what is coming toward you. And you may have felt unusual peace at strange moments, sudden hope without logical cause, a sense of calm in the middle of pressure. These are often traces of that assistance. And understand this too. Your breakthrough is not only about you surviving, it is about you flourishing, because abundance in your hands becomes impact, generosity, stability, testimony, and there have been lies planted in many that prosperity is wrong, that struggle is more spiritual, but provision and right alignment is a witness to my care, and you are not called to live under constant strain while serving faithfully. You are called to overflow so you can strengthen others. And the path into that overflow is not passive belief, but active trust. Trust that speaks, trust that gives, trust that takes steps even when conditions look unchanged. Because throughout history, provision followed obedience in motion, not faith frozen in theory. So speak life over your resources daily. Give even when it stretches you. Take the step you have been postponing. Send the message. Apply for the opportunity. Start the plan. Organize your finances. Because movement creates channels and stagnation reinforces lack. And examine the subtle things that have been choking flow. Resentment you never released. Complaints you keep repeating. Generosity you keep delaying until later. Because bitterness hardens the heart that is meant to receive. And tight fists cannot hold new supply. So forgive, release, open your hand. Open your mouth with gratitude before you see results. Because gratitude multiplies what exists and attracts what is needed. And there is a divine sequence at work. Understanding, turning away from lack thinking, speaking alignment, acting in trust, giving freely, thanking in advance, persisting without quitting. And this sequence is not random. It is how spiritual realities become material experiences. And your part is not to force outcomes, but to stay aligned with the process until manifestation catches up. And do not grow weary if progress seems slow, because persistence is proof of real trust. And every step forward, every small improvement, every answered need must be acknowledged, spoken, celebrated, because testimony sustains momentum and strengthens others. And your story is forming even now, not finished, not abandoned, but moving toward a chapter you will one day describe as the turning point when everything began to shift. And one of the most powerful ways you cooperate with this shift is through direct, confident conversation with me. Not timid begging, but bold agreement with what has already been promised, being specific, being clear, declaring needs, thanking in advance, returning again and again without quitting, because focused, faith-filled prayer is not a last resort. It is a primary channel through which supply is released and expectation prepares space, planning, organizing, making room in your thinking and in your life for the answer. Acting like provision is approaching rather than like lack is permanent. Because what you expect, you prepare for, and what you prepare for, you recognize when it arrives. And remember the many who stood where you stand, pressured, uncertain, yet choosing to trust, to act, to speak, and their situations turned, not by magic, but by alignment. And their stories are evidence that yours can turn too. And now gratitude becomes your atmosphere, because thankfulness shifts inner climate, breaks fear, invites presence. And when you thank me in the middle of need, you demonstrate trust that draws response. And this message itself is not just encouragement, but invitation, a call to step into the flow already released, to become both receiver and vessel, because as you are supported, you help support the spreading of this light to others still waiting in their dark moments. And you are not alone in this path. My presence surrounds you, shields you, guides you, provides for you. And the plan over your life is not fragile. It is firm, and as you agree with this, speak it, act on it. You will watch what was invisible become visible, what felt delayed become delivered, what seemed blocked become open. Because this is your moment, your season, your appointed time to rise into provision, to walk out of strain into stability, out of fear into confidence, out of barely enough into more than enough. And you must step into it now with bold agreement, unwavering trust, and active obedience, because heaven has already moved, and your move is the final piece that brings it fully into your world. And as that reality begins to take root inside you, something shifts in the atmosphere around your life that cannot be explained by logic alone. Because alignment is not just a thought, it is a spiritual positioning. And when you come into agreement with what has already been spoken over you, unseen structures begin rearranging themselves to match your declaration. Doors that look like walls reveal hidden hinges. Conversations you thought were ordinary carry uncommon favor, and paths you assumed were closed start to show narrow openings that widen the moment you take one step forward. Because faith is not proven in comfort, but in motion. And now you are no longer standing at the edge wondering if this word was truly for you. You are stepping into it, breathing it, letting it become your internal reality. And that inner shift is the birthplace of every outer transformation. Because before provision appears in your hands, it must first settle in your spirit as certainty. And certainty changes how you walk, how you speak, how you decide. You stop moving like someone bracing for loss and start moving like someone expecting supply. You stop shrinking your vision to match past disappointments and start stretching your expectation to match divine promise. And this is where many miracles are either realized or missed, in this invisible turning point where the heart either retreats into old fear or advances into new trust. And you, right now, are being invited to advance, to let go of the survival mindset that kept you alive in hard seasons, but cannot carry you into abundance. Because survival thinks day to day, but provision thinks legacy. Survival asks, how will I make it through? But provision asks, how will I steward what is coming? And I am lifting your thinking from barely enough to more than enough, from scrambling to stability, from reacting to leading. Because what is being released is not only for your relief, but for your rise. And you must understand that elevation often feels unfamiliar before it feels normal, which is why doubt tries to sneak back in, whispering that this is too good, too big, too soon. But those whispers lose power when confronted with truth spoken aloud. So open your mouth and declare again that you are ready, that you are positioned, that you are no longer partnering with fear about your future. Because every time you speak in agreement with provision, you reinforce the bridge between promise and manifestation, and the spiritual realm responds to that reinforcement like wind-filling sails, accelerating what was already set in motion. And do not mistake the quiet moments right now as inactivity, because much of divine movement is silent while it is setting things in place, just as seeds grow roots before breaking soil. And you are in that sacred interval where roots are deepening, so the coming increase does not topple you. And even the delays you once resented were actually strengthening your capacity to hold what is now approaching. Because sudden blessing without prepared character can become a burden, but blessing meeting readiness becomes expansion. And you have been made ready through endurance, through lessons learned in hidden seasons, through resilience built when you had to trust without evidence, and now evidence is on the way. Not as a tease, but as confirmation. And when it begins to show up, remember this moment. Remember that you were told beforehand so you would recognize the hand behind it. And stay humble, stay grateful, stay generous. Because the flow continues where gratitude remains. And the more you acknowledge what is being done, the more room you create for what is still coming. And you are entering a rhythm now, a divine rhythm where trust leads to action, action leads to provision, provision leads to gratitude, and gratitude leads to greater trust. A cycle of increase that replaces the old cycle of fear, hesitation, and lack. And yes, there will still be moments when circumstances try to contradict what you believe, but you no longer bow to appearances. You speak to them, you remind them that they are temporary and that promise is permanent. And this is the authority you are growing into. Not loud arrogance, but quiet confidence rooted in relationship. Knowing that you are not trying to force heaven's hand, but cooperating with heaven's heart. And as you continue in this posture, you will notice something else changing. Your sensitivity to guidance increasing, subtle nudges becoming clearer, timing becoming sharper. Because provision is often connected to obedience in small moments. A call made, a step taken, a decision not delayed, and what once seemed insignificant reveals itself as the turning key. And you begin to see your life less as random events and more as a guided journey. Each step watched, each need known, each answer timed, and anxiety loses its grip when you realize you are not navigating alone. That even when you cannot trace every detail, you can trust the direction, and that trust becomes peace, and that peace becomes strength, and that strength carries you through the final stretch between promise spoken and promise seen. And now, as this becomes your mindset, you are no longer merely hoping for change. You are expecting it, preparing for it, making space for it. And expectation is powerful because it shapes behavior, and behavior shapes outcomes. And you are aligning both with what has already been declared over you. So lift your eyes, lift your words, lift your actions into agreement with the season you have entered, because this is not a rehearsal, not a symbolic encouragement. This is the unfolding of a real shift, a tangible turning, and you are not watching it from the outside. You are walking into it, step by faithful step, breath by believing breath, until what once lived only in prayer becomes visible in your life. And when that day arrives, and it is closer than you think, you will stand not in surprise but in recognition, knowing you were led here, prepared for this, and invited to participate every step of the way.